Hey guys, this is Mike. I'm doing a movie channel, and today I'm going to talk about my top 7 holiday films. I was thinking about doing a top 10, but it's not that many Christmas movies out there, and I figure top 5, not quite enough, so top 7. Okay, so let's get into it. Number 7 is The Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen. Really like this movie because Tim Allen's humor is, it's just, I don't know, it's really appealing to me. Grew up in the 90s watching Home Improvement, and he's just got some really good comedic timing. There's a particular scene I like where he goes to Denny's with his kid after he burns the turkey, and he pulls into the parking lot. The kids are like looking at him, and he's like, Denny's, it's an American institution. And then they're sitting there, and he's like, yeah, we know they got hot apple pie. And then the waitress is like, yeah, we did. And yeah, it's just kind of a lot of that type of comedy, and it's a great movie for kids, great movie for adults, and yeah, Tim Allen, he's great. Okay, we'll move on now to number 6. Number 6 is going to be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, starring Chevy Chase. Another older movie, but really good. Chevy Chase humor a little different than like what you get with Tim Allen. He's kind of like this goofball. He's trying to give you the perfect family Christmas, that picture perfect greeting card Christmas type, biggest tree, biggest turkey, and I love the shenanigans he gets into this film. It's what makes it hilarious. Particular scene I really like is they're going to find the Christmas tree. They're out in this like forest area where they're, I guess, allowed to pick out a tree and cut it down, and they come to this ginormous tree, and his family's just standing there freezing their asses off, and he's like lit up like a kid, and he's like, Audrey, what do you think? And the wife's just like, she's frozen, dear. And then his son's like, Dad, that tree wouldn't fit in our front yard. And he's just like, it's not going in our front yard, Russ. It's going in our living room. Alright, next up, I'm going to go with another comedy, Four Christmases. Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon. If you like Vince Vaughn, you'll love this movie. Some people really don't like Vince Vaughn, but I do. I find his humor really entertaining. This movie, as the title suggests, both Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn, both their parents are divorced, so they got to go to 4 separate Christmases, and their families are all kind of they're embarrassing, but like to an extent that some people might not be used to. Vince Vaughn's got like a redneck dad, and like this sexualized mother, and then Reese Witherspoon's got this mother who's dating a preacher, and then she's got this like rich dad, and it's a great scene where they go to like mass with her mom, with Reese Witherspoon's mom's side, and it's like this Joel Osteen type church, and they get talked into being Mary and Joseph for their Christmas pageant, and Vince Vaughn's hilarious. I love the way he carries that scene. He's just like, he's so pumped up to be Joseph in the pageant. He's like, I'm gonna blow the roof off this bitch. Yeah, I really like this movie. Watch it every year. You haven't seen it, you'll laugh your ass off. Number 4, Home Alone 2. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Macaulay Culkin as Kevin McAllister. Daniel Stern, Joe Pesci as Harry and Marv, the Wet Bandits. And really love this film because yeah, Kevin McAllister, the character is really delightful, kind of, and just relatable. I think everyone's felt like their family has shit on them at one point, and so it's an easy story to kind of sympathize with, and it's funny as hell. You know, Daniel Stern's like idiotic behavior is just really hysterical. Uh, there's this time, of course, they're in New York, and instead of Kevin defending his own house, he's like at his uncle's house, but they're like gone away and they're renovating, and so Kevin takes all the uh, tools and the supplies that they use for their house renovations and turns them into booby traps like he did in the first one. And, of course, the two crooks, Harry and Marv, they fall for all these traps, and it's really hysterical stuff. It's like, I love it. Number three, film I don't own but probably should, White Christmas. This is a classic Christmas movie, made I think in the 50s. So it's definitely got a different vibe than all the other films I've mentioned so far. This is more of like classical filmmaking where it's like a full-blown musical, and it stars Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, and both of them are dynamic entertainers. They're dynamic dancers, and they've got really good comedic talent, and also Rosemary Clooney. I think she's the grandmother of George Clooney, if I'm not mistaken. She's one of the sisters. I can't remember the other lady that plays the other sister, but she's also a very good actress and very talented. And yeah, it's a really nice movie. Very wholesome vibe, but also at the same time, it's not too cliche. There's a little bit of drama, a little bit of comedy, and the musical numbers are great. Great choreography. Like if you want to see some like really good like choreographed tap dance numbers and some big like big show-stopping musical numbers, this is like a definitely perfect movie for that, and a perfect movie for the holiday season. So White Christmas, check it out. Okay, number two spot. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the 2000 live action version starring Jim Carrey, directed by Ron Howard. If you're a Jim Carrey fan, you're probably going to like this. He's got some really hysterical lines and just some really funny situations that he's put his character into. Kind of like really expands the story of the Grinch, that the Dr. Seuss story that's just like a short story. It gives it a lot more depth, I think, and a lot more like background for the character of the Grinch. So pretty interesting too, and I loved it as a kid. I love it still today as an adult. I know every single line. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, number one spot, all-time favorite Christmas movie, original Home Alone. Yeah, not much to say about this movie that hasn't been said probably by everyone else already, but really great movie, really a situation that I feel like I said just like with Home Alone 2, something that we can all relate to, having a family where we feel left out or we feel people don't appreciate us, and Macaulay Culkin comes across very genuine. I like that a lot, and of course he's really clever in this movie, and he kind of sometimes is acting more mature for his age than you would expect. He's going out and buying groceries and talking to the lady at the cash register, and he's making himself dinner and saying grace or whatever before his dinner. And then I love some of the stuff with Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci again, those two crooks, Harry and Marv. Scenes where like he plays that movie within the movie Angels with Filthy Souls. It's a fake movie, but he's watching but it's made for this movie specifically, and he's watching this gangster movie, and then he hears them coming, and he turns it on, uh, he turns it on, and then the Harry and Marv are outside, and or I think it's just Marv actually. Marv is outside, and he hears the movie going on. He thinks there's two guys in there actually doing like a job, and you hear the TV going, "Tell you what, I'm gonna give you, snakes. I'm gonna give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no good keister out my front door before I pump your guts full of lead. 1, 2, 10." It's really funny. Traps are great. Watching Kevin get into all these crazy situations is entertaining as hell. And it's also sentimental and sweet. Got the old guy who shovels the sidewalks, and everyone thinks he's this creepy murderer guy, but really he's just a sweet old guy who, had a falling out with his son, and Kevin kind of meets him and makes a nice with him, and sort of comes to terms with like he doesn't want to regret having a falling out with his family like this guy did. And then the last thing I gotta mention is, of course, "Somewhere in My Memory" is a great Christmas song, one of my favorites. John Williams does the score for this movie, and if you know anything about John Williams' work, he is the best film scorer all time. So if for some reason you have not seen Home Alone, you need to watch this. Okay, thanks for watching, and if you liked it, please give me a comment or a critique, or tell me what you like or what you don't like, what kind of holiday films you're into, and yeah, thanks.